Hey entrepreneurs, and welcome to the Art of Online Marketing live show. Today I'm going to be talking about the lessons I've learned since my first webinar last year. Alright, so my name is Denise Allison, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm the proud owner of Strategro. So I'm a branding, marketing, and social media expert, and I work with small businesses to empower them with the skills that they need to attract more customers online, raise their awareness, and grow their audience on social media. So I have this feature enabled on my Facebook profile, and it's called something like On This Day, and every day it shows me all the posts that I've posted on this day in all of the years past, so all the years since I got Facebook. And it can be pretty interesting to see what I was doing on this day years ago, especially when it's in university or something fun, and it's fun to look back and see what I was doing. And sometimes I have no clue what I'm talking about or what other people are posting on my wall about, but it's still pretty funny anyway. But last week I was getting these on this day, and it was telling me that I was promoting my first webinar this time last year. So I mean, that reminded me of how far that I have come since that first webinar that I put on last year. So I want to talk about all of the lessons that I've learned about my business since then. So before we get started, I do see that there's a few of you on here live, so let me know who you are, where you're watching from, and what your business is. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat right here. And if you find the content of this video valuable, share it with all your friends so they can benefit from this too. Alright, so today's topic. 3 lessons I've learned the hard way since last year, so that you don't need to. Okay, so as I was saying, I have this app on my phone, and last week it reminded me that I had this webinar coming up that I was promoting about a year ago this time. And this was my first webinar, like I said, and it was called Unlock the Profit Potential of Your Business. So this was my first webinar, and it was almost my last webinar, so it didn't really go that well. So first of all, the name. So if you didn't almost fall asleep when I was telling you the name of the webinar, congratulations. So this webinar focused on how to look at your financial statements, understanding what percentages of your sales you're spending where, and how to compare that to industry averages. So I know, I don't even know where to begin in dissecting what was wrong with that. I mean, the lessons in the webinar were really useful, and they're all things that business owners need to know. But the problem was, this wasn't my topic. I'm not passionate about numbers or accounting or financials. In fact, I now have somebody do my bookkeeping for me because I just really don't like doing it. So that was my first mistake, focusing on something that I really wasn't passionate about. So how did I end up doing that topic if it's not something that I like doing? Well, there's a few different reasons. So if you remember, Tim was still a pretty big part of the company at the time, and we had been trying to figure out where we were going with the business and what we were going to focus on to set us apart from all the other consulting business coach type of companies that were out there. And he's pretty good at numbers. So we had this tool created, and it wasn't cheap to create. Actually, it was the complete opposite of cheap, so it was expensive. Anyway, with the tool, we could input the financials of a business, input their costs, and break out the expense categories, and we could get some benchmark numbers coming out of this. And it made a really nice little report based on their financials. So the tool is actually pretty awesome, but it wasn't me. So again, it was all based on financials and accounting and all of those other things that don't really quite do it for me. And the webinar we created had that same focus. It focused on financials, accounting, and in the webinar we were promoting a program that involved this tool. So this was my first mistake, latching onto a topic that, 1, I wasn't in love with, and 2, that I didn't know inside and out. So here's the thing, I love doing social media marketing, and I love teaching it. So I'm not naturally a really talkative person. I'm more of a listener and I'm more of an introvert. But I do feel like I could talk about social media marketing for hours. And I kind of do. So I'm here every single week talking about social media. And I also teach a 40-hour class where we're in class for 3 to 4 hours at a time, and we're talking about social media the entire time. And any time somebody asks a question, I can answer it, well, within reason. But I'm comfortable having those conversations, answering any questions, and I would feel comfortable having a conversation about social media marketing with absolutely anybody, because it's a topic that I know inside and out. And for the financial stuff, that really just wasn't the case. So honestly, we were all over the place with what we're offering. So we were doing that, we were doing business coaching, strategic planning, and I was doing customer attraction and marketing. So that brings me to my second big mistake that I was making. I wasn't being specific. So my ideal customer wasn't clear, my message wasn't clear. I don't even think that I had a message, actually, and I knew all of these things. These are things that I talk about with my clients all the time. I knew I was making this mistake and I just couldn't stop myself. So maybe it was part of working with somebody with an opposite skill set as me, but part of it was just not stepping up and staking my claim in what I really wanted to be doing. So sometimes I try to tell myself that it's because maybe I didn't realize that social media marketing was what I want to be doing. And there might be a little bit of truth in that, but I was scared. I was scared to boldly say I am a social media expert. So there was absolutely some fear there because I wasn't fully convinced in my own mind that that was true. And I knew other people in that industry, and I was always thinking things like, well, they know more than me and they're the expert and I can't compete with them, and that kind of thing, because I didn't know absolutely everything there was to know. So that made me scared to stake my claim in saying that I am a social media expert. But then one day I realized that I really do know more about social media marketing than anybody that I know. Yeah, there's certainly some people out there who know more about it than I do, and that's just the way that it is. But I'm still an expert, and I'm not competing on who knows the most and who knows the best, that kind of basis. I am working on a who wants what I have to offer them in the way that I am offering it and delivering it, and the style that I have and the way that I teach it. So getting really clear on that and hanging my shingle out has made a huge difference. So much so that I can't even begin to put into words the impact that this has had on my business and the trajectory of my business. So if you offer everything under the sun, you're not going to make a real connection with your audience and your potential customers. You need to be really clear on what it is you're offering to them and help them realize what issue you're helping them overcome so that they can relate to what that pain point is and seeing the result that you can promise them. So don't be afraid to niche down and be as specific as possible. Honestly, the more specific you can get, the better. I have a few comments here. Shauna says, "You're a wonderful teacher." Thank you, Shauna. So we ran a few of those webinars, and we did 2 at a time, and we did this 3 or 4 times. And we did it that way because we had followed some training that suggested doing it that way. So doing 1 at noon and 1 in the evening, doing 2 as a session, and repeating it over and over again. And this training made it sound easy and like it was going to be easy to get all kinds of people registered and all kinds of people would show up and want to buy our program. But this is not at all how it worked out for us. So they weren't overly successful. Registrations were very low and attendance was even lower, well, naturally. So in these webinars, we were presenting to like 4 or 5 people at a time, which can be really discouraging. And considering the amount of time and effort we went into planning these webinars and the amount of energy that's expelled just presenting the webinar, it really wasn't worth it. And this made me not want to do webinars anymore. So I had decided they were passé and people don't want to sign up for webinars and it's too hard to get registrations and to get people to actually attend. And I was done with webinars after this, or so I thought. So in the spring, I worked with a wonderful business coach. Her name was Eleanor Beaton, and we had already decided that I was going to put a bigger focus on booking speaking events and going to events and speaking to an audience and sharing my topic and expertise with the audience. So, which I mean, like speaking events are kind of like an in real life version of webinars, or maybe the opposite, depending what world you're from. But I was hesitant to do any more webinars. But long story short, it's a long story, she convinced me to give webinars another try. And I trust this person 100%, so I just went with it. And I would turn my signature talk that I present at events into a webinar-friendly kind of thing and see what I can do with it. So I hosted my first eLunch and Learn in July, and it far exceeded my expectations. So I had more than twice the amount of people registered than I was hoping for. And a lot of those people actually did show up live, which was surprising because this was done at the end of July when I thought everyone might be camping or on vacation. So I decided not to offer a program at the end of the webinar. I just want to share some information, and if anybody there wanted to follow up with me and see how I might be able to help them, that was kind of the offer made. So there wasn't a hard pitch for selling a program at the end. So the third lesson here is learning from your mistakes and making changes and trying again differently. So I got so much positive feedback from that eLunch and Learn. Everyone appreciated the topic and the content and the advice that was given within the session. So many went on to implement the tips that we had discussed, and they saw a growth in their audience, more engagement, more awareness of their business, and these are the things that always make me happy, when people implement things and see real results. So because that went so well, I have decided to offer this eLunch and Learn once again. So I had been thinking about offering a different topic under eLunch and Learn, but I really love this topic and I love the feedback that I got, and it really would be a shame not to offer it again and let everybody who didn't get the chance to get in on that first session to do it again, or if you want, you can do it for a second time. So like I said, it's based on my signature talk, and it's the fundamentals of what I do and what I offer in my business. And we cover some really important stuff in this talk. So I do want to keep that going. So it will be offered on October 19th at noon Atlantic time. So join me with your peanut butter sandwich and your scotch. Is that what people eat for lunch? I don't know. I work from home, so I don't really know what's appropriate to eat for lunch, I suppose. So I put the link up here, it's up there, so click on that and go register. It's a free eLunch and Learn, and it's for anybody who wants to raise awareness of their business, grow their audience, and attract more customers online. And it's called 5 Ways to Actually Attract Customers with Social Media. So it's a lot of fun and lasts about an hour, and it's quite interactive. So the link is there, and you can find it on my social media pages, on my website. And if you really can't find the link, send me a message and I'll make sure that you get signed up for that. So you'll want to register for that. It's in a little over a week. And make sure you let all your friends know, because I know that they want to be awesome at social media too. So in the meantime, you can check out my other videos on my Facebook page or on my website. And remember that I go live every Tuesday at 10 a.m. And next week I'm going to be talking about creating content. So you won't want to miss that next Tuesday. And then just 2 days later is the eLunch and Learn. So make sure you sign up for that too. All right, so thanks everyone for joining me today, and I will see you all next week in the live show and then in the webinar. Okay, thanks. Bye. Have a great day.